It could become the first concrete evidence of the existence of an ancient advanced civilization. The vast structure discovered buried in Rockwall, a small town in Texas, the United States, covering a diameter of about 20 square kilometers, is buried in the ground for about 7 plants, and could date back about 20,000 years ago. Who would build such a complex and as old building in 1850, a strange stone wall found in a place not far from Dallas, Texas? The structure gave its name to what is now the city of Rockwall Stone Wall. The locals are convinced that it is the remains of a fabulous and lost, ancient civilization. Some geologists believe that this is a strange natural structure, where strange is an adjective used when there is a lack of a valid theory or mechanism known for its creation. In fact, the huge rock wall has features that suggest that it is a work of artificial origin, made more than 20,000 years ago. This takes place in a rectangular structure with the smaller sides of approximately 3.5 km in length, and the longer sides of approximately 5.6 km long. Among the first settlers, who came to the area to establish a farming community, there were 3 new families newly arrived: Wade, the Boydston and Stevenson. In 1852, the Wade family began to build his house in the east of the Trinity River Valley. During excavation of the pit of the estate, Mr. Wade discovered a rock wall that stretched for several meters below the soil surface. It seems that the 3 families were at odds with each other, because each wanted to give his family name to new colonized territories. But after discovering the rock wall unanimously, they decided to call the colony Rockwall to soften their differences. As reported by the report picked up by Mary Patty Wade Gibson, grandson of the family head of Wade, and now curator of the Historical Foundation of Rockwall County, other excavations carried out by his grandfather and other men brought to light a series of cubicles or rooms in which you could easily walk. A long corridor seemed headed toward the hill, as if it were a road that ends in a square. The ceiling of the corridor was described with steep slopes type vaulted ceiling, like those built by the Maya. Mary Patty's grandfather discovered that the wall extended below, down on the ground for nearly 40 meters. The figure seems to be confirmed by a well dug in 1897 by a Mr. Dewey's. It seems that the structure extends deep into the earth, as a 7-story building. However, it appears that Mr. Dewey's excavation stopped before reaching the actual bottom of the structure. On Friday, May 28, 1886, edition of the local newspaper Rockwall County reported the discovery of artifacts in the vicinity of the excavation and 4 giant skulls. The biggest surprise to document this week is the discovery of a petrified human skull. On Saturday, Ben Burton has brought to light with his plow what looks like a giant skull. The eyes were as big as a 2-liter container. The discovery shows that this region was once inhabited by a race of people who would be really amazing to see today. Dr. Wiggins estimated that the skull of an antediluvian giant worth 1,000 pounds. Anyone who wants to see the skull can contact Mr. Burton, which makes it available for inspection. On June 4, 1886, the same newspaper published another article, "Wonders Never Cease." Just after the discovery of the giant skull of Mr. Burton, a large crowd went to the property of Mr. Grier to hear the sound of metal on the bottom of a well dug in the ground. After removing the earth, the excavation unearthed a huge room with a pillared roof of black marble. The sides shone the light of the oil lamp. In 1906, an incident involving 2 unidentified men, while they were determined to dig into the hull, men reported. His intention was to reach a room or a cavity beneath the city, convinced it was a room full of gold, an idea apparently derived from an ancient Indian legend. In total disregard of geologists and archaeologists over the past 100 years, some research has been carried out by the inhabitants of the region interested in understanding if the structure is natural or artificial. In 1949, Mr. Sanders, Fort Worth, Texas, has made an excavation in the vicinity of the main wall. Soil removal has revealed 4 large stones weighing approximately 2 tons, in which inscriptions speak pictographs found. On November 5, 1967, Frank Tentholber digged at his farm just east of the city of Rockwall, finding the side of a masonry wall, which seemed to look like an arch over a door or window. In the early 70s, a couple of peculiar metal rings embedded in the stone was discovered. The rings each have a diameter of 15 mm and about 30 cm. They were practically incorporated into the stones that made up the part. Rings were analyzed and the composition appears to be an alloy of tin, titanium and iron. No researcher, so far, is able to offer an explanation of how they got there. The 2 rings. See also, giant rings 30 million years ago discovered in the mountains of Bosnia. A strange disinterest, although the structure is available to anyone and discovery seem very interesting, for some reason it is not clear, because the site does not arouse scientific interest. Certainly, it raises some important questions. What is a natural or artificial wall? Is there a huge archaeological site buried under the state of Texas? Is it the remains of an ancient lost civilization? Or is it simply another wonder of nature that the territories of North America have become accustomed? Because nobody bothers to conclusively answer these questions. The exposed wall is quite spectacular when you see it for the first time, says Randall Moyer, an archaeologist at Dallas, one of the few scientists who frequent the site. To determine its origin, the genesis and age, it offers a number of interesting research opportunities that can certainly further our understanding of this phenomena. The decisive factor, however, is that geologists do not really know the processes precise that can lead to the formation of this type. Then a detailed and systematic study would be appropriate, even if it's just a natural phenomena. But there are those who believe that the structure of Rockwall could be the remains of some ancient civilization largely unknown. And if so, who were the people who built it and for what purpose? Could confirmation, along with the skeletons found in North, that once was inhabited by a race of giants America? And who were they?